And welcome back. As I've stated before in previous videos, I've been kind of jumping around from section to section. Here I am back to working on the right wing rear spar. I had gotten the majority of this completed, but then came to a point where I had to use a reamer on the attachment point at the fuselage at the root there on the right end of the piece that I'm working on. And I didn't have the reamer. I think it was I want to say it was a 3/8 reamer. So I had to special order it and wait for it to get in. So while I was waiting on that, I'd started working on other parts. So finally got it in, and at the very beginning of this video, you saw me utilizing it to make that hole there on the right end nice and round. And obviously the importance of that is that that's where it's going to attach to the fuselage. And so you want to make sure that the through bolt that you use has good mating contact at all points in that circle. A typical drill bit can make an oblong hole, and so it has room for vibration, things like that. So you have to use a reamer just to make sure it's a perfect circle to fit around the bolt. At least that's my understanding. So now the rest of this is attaching that doubler. Now that I got the hole reamed, I'm finally attaching the doubler to the rest of the rear spar. In the previous videos, I had attached all of the other doublers, and this was the last piece I had before I was able to finally attach to the ribs, which you'll see here in a little bit. The one part about this is the third hole down at each location you leave open, and that's because there's a metal piece that goes, it attaches to that third row from the top, and then also attaches to the underside of the top skins. I forget what the piece is called, but that's what those are for. So the instructions basically tell you, make sure you mark off where all of the ribs will get riveted in place, so you don't close those out before you're supposed to. But also don't put a rivet in specific locations, and that's the third one down at each spot. So now moving forward a little bit, I had to remove some video. My wife helped me move my spar and ribs in from, they were in the house in the living room while I was modifying my wing stand, and had to have her help me bring it back out to the garage. And she doesn't like to be on camera, so needless to say, fast forwarding a little bit to starting to now put the ribs or the rear spar in place. So again, as I'm starting this, I'm telling myself, make sure you don't rivet that third. And what did I just do right there? I rivet the wrong spot. And that's when I just realized, okay, I better put some tape. So as you're doing these, as the instruction tells you to make sure that you don't drill something, or you don't rivet something, or dimple something, use some tape. It'll help you out tremendously. So I had to go back out and drill it out, and now I'm continuing on with the rest of the installation on the rear spar. The rear spar is it's pretty simple to put in place, but if you don't have your spar, the main spar, supported well enough, it could bow, and you have some difficulties getting some of the ribs to line up correctly. So that's why I've got it on the tables here. That way it's supported all the way across. The new stand that I'm making is the same attach point at the root end, where I use a bolt to go through one of the spar holes there to hold that end in place. But the other end, the outboard end, is set up for the leading edge to cradle the leading edge. And so that's why I had to remove the wing from the stand that I had before. So now it's set up that it'll hold it, and it works pretty well. I'm gonna have to modify some more, but while it's the wing is in that the stand with the cradle, until you have the top skins on, you want to make sure you support that spar really well to keep it from bowing. That's the big issue with the wings, is you don't want to warp them at all. You don't want to the spar to bow. So you got to be real careful about that. So make sure you use something to support the midsection of the spar as you have it, even when you have it in stands, until you have all of the skins in place, because the skins will basically hold everything straight and together and it kind of reinforces everything. But until then, it'll sag. So as I'm editing this video, I've gotten pretty far with the right wing. I'm nearly complete, honestly. I've got the electrical all wired through and everything, so it's coming along pretty quickly. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this video run out here. Again, appreciate those who continue to watch these videos. This is just a short catch-up video of getting the rear spar done, the kind of the finished work of previous videos. So if you get a chance, hit that like button for me. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit that alarm bell, and you'll get notifications every time I put these videos out and see how I go on the build of the RV14. We'll see you later.